Revelation chapter 14, approximately page 1209 in the scriptures, isr-messianic.org. And I, John, I looked, and I saw a lamb, Yeshua, standing on Mount Zion, that's Jerusalem, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written on their foreheads. Now, some texts read having his name and his Father's name written on their foreheads. Either way, they've been sealed in the forehead. But it's interesting, his name and his Father's name, we can see in verse 12, here's the endurance of the set-apart ones, the saints. Here are those guarding the commands of Elohim and the belief of Yeshua Messiah. The name of Elohim and the name of Yeshua in their foreheads, these saints. So there's the Lamb. If you picture this in your mind, there's the Lamb standing on Mount Zion, and with him are this 144,000 who've been sealed in the forehead. And I, John, I heard a voice out of the heaven, like the voice of many waters, and like the voice of a loud thunder, and I heard the sound of harpists playing their harps. This is the voice of Yah. We've previously talked about in Psalms 29, the voice of Yah. Let's see if I can find it. Psalms 29. Ascribe to Yahweh, O you sons of the mighty. Ascribe to Yahweh esteem and strength. Ascribe to Yahweh the esteem of his name. Bow yourselves to Yahweh in the splendor of set-apartness, holiness. The voice of Yahweh is over the waters. The Elohim of esteem thunders. Yahweh is over many waters. The voice of Yahweh is with power. The voice of Yahweh is with greatness. The voice of Yahweh is breaking the cedars. Yahweh is breaking the cedars of Lebanon in pieces. He makes them skip like a calf. Lebanon and Syrian like a wild young ox. The voice of Yahweh cuts through the flames of fire. The voice of Yahweh shakes the wilderness. Yahweh shakes the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of Yahweh makes the deer give birth and strips forests bare. In his Hekal, his temple, everyone says, glory, esteem. Yahweh sat enthroned at the flood, and Yahweh sits as king forever. Yahweh gives strength to his people, and Yahweh blesses his people with peace. And we saw this in Revelation chapter 10, the seven thunders. These are the seven voices of Yahweh here in Psalms 29. And I imagine almost like if you've seen test footage of nuclear weapons where the trees, the bark just blows right off the tree. That's the image I get in my mind when Yahweh speaks. So back to Revelation 14. And I heard a voice out of the heaven like the voice of many waters, and like the voice of loud thunder, Yahweh. And I heard the sound of harpists playing their harps. And they sang a renewed song before the throne, and before the four living creatures and the elders. And no one was able to learn that song except the 144,000 who were redeemed, bought and paid for from the earth. They are those who were not defiled with women, for they are maidens. They are those following the Lamb wherever he leads them on, wherever Yeshua leads them. It's interesting to think. They were redeemed from among men, being firstfruits to Elohim and to the Lamb. And we know 1 Corinthians 15:20 says Yeshua was the first fruits of the resurrection. Well, these are the first fruits of those redeemed amongst men, meaning there's more to come. Being first fruits to Elohim and the Lamb. It's both, y'all. I don't know how many times I can make that point over and over again, but it's both. It's not one or the other, it's both. They were redeemed from among men, being firstfruits to Elohim and the Lamb, guarding the commands of Elohim and the belief of Yeshua Messiah. Now it's interesting if you think they were maidens. Otherwise, other places you get this word Alma, and Alma means a young woman. It doesn't necessarily mean virgin, as we can see here. And these are those not defiled with women, for they are maidens. Alma doesn't necessarily mean that you're a virgin. Alma means young woman. If they're a virgin, they say that they're a virgin, biblically. And the only reason I bring that up, and it's not to pee in anybody's Cheerios, because it is one of the staples of Christian belief, the virgin birth of Yeshua. I want to be completely upfront and say it doesn't matter to me whether he was born of a virgin or not. It doesn't matter. He was, he is to come, right? But biblically, elsewhere, where you see the word Alma, it means young woman. It doesn't mean maiden. And that might put a whole new spin on that story, if you read it in Matthew, as to how Miriam became pregnant by the Spirit. And that's okay. You're welcome to believe what you believe. Again, I'm not trying to pee in anybody's Cheerios. Just simply pointing out the word Alma, translated as virgin in the New Testament, elsewhere is translated as young woman. Things to think about. Is it a deal breaker for faith? For me, no, not at all. Not even close. Not even close. But it begs the question. See, if Messiah is of the lineage of King David, which is why you have Joseph's genealogy, that's what Matthew chapter 1 begins with, and here is the genealogy of Yeshua Messiah. Joseph's genealogy is what ties Yeshua back to King David. Is it possible that Miriam came pregnant by the Spirit in other ways because she was an Alma, a young woman, not a virgin? It's possible. Is it a deal breaker? No, not for me anyway. And if it is for you, so be it. Find a different channel to watch. I'm simply bringing it up from a matter of biblical historicity. What does the Bible say? So, these 144,000, they were redeemed from among men, being firstfruits to Elohim and the Lamb. 1 Corinthians 15:20 makes it clear that Yeshua is the firstfruits of the resurrection, and these are the firstfruits of redemption from among men to Elohim and the Lamb, to the Father and the Son. And in their mouth, these 144,000, was found no falsehood, for they are blameless before the throne of Elohim. No falsehood, no bad doctrines. 1 Peter 2:21, following Messiah perfectly. And they're blameless before the throne of Elohim. What does that mean? How are they blameless before the throne of Elohim? Let's let the Bible interpret the Bible. Doctrine of inerrancy, right? Luke 1 verse 6, blamelessly walking in the commands of Yah. That's righteousness. These people were blameless before the throne of Elohim. They were righteous. They walked in the commands. Here are those guarding the commands of Elohim and the belief of Yeshua Messiah. Interesting. And again, don't take my word for this. Read your Bible with your own eyeballs. See what your Bible says. Pray over it. Talk to the Father. Don't subcontract your faith to me. Okay, I'm Brother Bear, not Pastor Bear. I'm here to hang out with you and read the Word together, not to shove anything down your throat, but to make you think and re-examine what you think you know about the Bible. I have a brother who would say, I'm here to break your myopic paradigms, the programming that you've received thus far, because it should be our intention to worship in spirit and in truth to the best of our ability. And that's what these people in 14 verse 5 are doing. And in their mouth was found no falsehood, for they are blameless before the throne of Elohim. So no falsehood is equated to being righteous, and righteousness is walking in the commands. Imagine that. We read 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 last week, the falsehood of unrighteousness, the deceit of unrighteousness, the deception of not having to keep the commands. Well, these people weren't under that deception, and therefore they were sealed in the forehead. Things to think about. Verse 6, and I saw another messenger, another angel, flying in mid-heaven, holding the everlasting good news, to announce those dwelling on the earth, even to every nation and tribe and tongue and people. Now, the good news is another one of those phrases that's gotten kind of off track, a bit perverted. The good news, the gospel message. Well, what is the gospel message? It's that you've been redeemed, you've been bought and paid for with a price, that price being the blood of Messiah. Why? So that you can walk in his steps, 1 Peter 2:21. Why does that matter? Because the actual biblical good news definition of is the restoration of the kingdom of Elohim. That's why, and you want to be part of the kingdom of Elohim, also known as Israel. Romans 11:16, that's what you're grafted into. The tree of life is Israel. You want to be a big part of the big family, all right? So the restoration of the kingdom, that's what this messenger is holding. The everlasting good news to announce the restoration of the kingdom to those dwelling on the earth, even to every nation and tribe and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, fear Elohim and give glory to him, because the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him who made heaven and the earth and sea and fountains of water. And another messenger followed, saying, Babylon, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she had made all nations drink the wine of the wrath of her whoring. This comes out of Isaiah 21, verse 9. Isaiah talking about the watchman on the wall at this point, and the watchman sees a chariot coming with 2 donkeys, and he cries, alas, alas, Babylon has fallen. Yeah, because it's wine press time, y'all. Judgment is coming. So on the one hand, we've got an angel screaming to the world, the restoration of the kingdom of heaven. How so? Through Yeshua Messiah. And on the other hand, we've got another angel screaming, saying, Babel is fallen, that great city, because she's made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her whoring. Look at the juxtaposition here. Which team do you want to be on? The restoration of the kingdom of God, or whoring and destruction? And then a third messenger followed them, saying with a loud voice, if anyone worships the beast, remember we read about the beast, the Antichrist, last week? If anyone worships the beast and his image and receives his mark upon his forehead or upon his hand, he also shall drink the wine of the wrath of Elohim, which is poured out undiluted into the cup of his wrath. And he shall be tortured with fire and sulfur before the set-apart messengers and before the Lamb. And the smoke of their torture goes up forever and ever, and they have no rest, day or night, those worshiping the beast and his image, also if anyone receives the mark of his name. Now, dovetailing into this flame of fire and this wrath, see Isaiah chapter 5, Yeshayahu 5. Isaiah 5. Verse 24. Start at 20. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes and clever in their own sight. Woe to the mighty to drink wine and brave men to mix strong drink, who declare right the wrong for a bribe, and righteousness of the righteous they turn aside from him. Therefore, as a tongue of fire devours the stubble, and a flame consumes the chaff, the wheat and the chaff, separating the wheat from the chaff. The wheat's the good guys, the chaff is the bad guys. The flame consumes the chaff. Their root is as rottenness, and their blossom goes up like dust, because they have rejected the Torah of Yahweh of hosts, the commands, and despised the word of the set-apart one of Israel. The Torah of Yahweh of hosts and the word of the set-apart one of Israel. Here is the endurance of the set-apart ones. Here are those guarding the commands of Elohim and the belief of Yeshua Messiah. It's both. It's both. So it's been both. Belief and works, James talks about this. And since we're at verse 12 in chapter 14, we'll read that one more time. Here is the endurance of the saints, the set-apart ones. Here are those guarding the commands of Elohim and the belief of Yeshua. And I, John, heard a voice out of the heavens saying to me, write, blessed are the dead who die in the Master from now on. Yes, says the Spirit, in order that they rest from their labors and their works follow with them. What does that mean? Their works follow with them. You shall know them by their fruit. Their worldly stature, their wealth, their prominence, doesn't matter. Their works follow with them. And blessed are those who are dying from now on in the Master and Yeshua. And the Spirit, as the second witness, says, yes, in order that they rest from their labors. Because they've been striving at this time. Again, nobody's been raptured up by this time, but Yah's people are dying. The world, as we're going to see, is about to be harvested. But blessed are those who are dying in the Master. They have this belief in Yeshua Messiah, the endurance of the saints. They're guarding the commands and they believe in Yeshua Messiah, and they're blessed. And the Spirit says, yes, in order that they rest from their labors, the works of this world, and their works follow with them. And we know from Revelation 22, verse 12, and see, I am coming speedily, Yeshua says, and my reward is with me to give to each according to his work. You shall know them by their fruits. What did they do? Not what did they think about, what did they say, what did they talk about, what did they read about, what did they pontificate on, what did they believe, what did they do? Verse 14. So we got angels in the heavens screaming and crying out and announcing to the world the good news, the restoration of the kingdom. We've got this 144,000 singing this song. We've got Yah speaking, shaking the whole world. Another angel's crying out, singing, Babel is fallen, is fallen. Another angel screaming out that if you worship the beast, you're going to think of the cacophony here. If you worship the beast, there's going to be utter destruction for you. And then this voice out of the heaven, Yah speaks and said, blessed are those who die in the Master. Think about this. Like, the heavens are raging at this point. You think like a heavy metal concert is loud. Think about this going on, right? And then I, John, looked and I saw a white cloud. Behold, he is coming on the clouds. And sitting on the cloud was one like the son of Adam. Direct reference to Daniel chapter 7, verse 13 here. This is Yeshua having on his head a golden crown, the crown representing authority, and in his hand a sharp sickle. Sickle. What do you do with a sickle? You reap. And another messenger, another angel, crying out with a loud voice to the one sitting on the clouds, crying out to Yeshua, send your sickle and reap, because the hour has come for you to reap, because the harvest of the earth is ripe. Now, some people here will say, and I think it's bad doctrine, bad teaching, that this is him reaping his believers off the face of the earth. This is the rapture right here. Negative. These are the nations that are being reaped, because look what happens to them. Got to read stuff in context. Don't just pull out a single verse out of a single chapter out of context. And the one sitting on the cloud, Yeshua, thrust his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another messenger came out of the dwelling place, which is in the heaven. The temple in the heaven. Oh, it was nailed to the cross. You should read Colossians 2:14. What was nailed to the cross was the doctrines and dogmas of men. Why do you think you need a high priest per the book of Hebrews if there's no temple? Why do you think in Revelation chapter 7 that there were people sealed out of the tribe of Levi? There's no temple. Yeah. What do you think you're doing up there in heaven? Worshiping Yah. Where? At the temple. Read the book. Do what it says. And another messenger came out of the dwelling place, the temple, which is in heaven, and he too held a sharp sickle. It's interesting, we've got two here. It's like a double witness on this harvesting of the earth. By the way, there's 6 messengers here. 6 angels, 6 messengers. 6 is the number of man. All this is happening to man at this time. It's one short of 7, right? Which is Yah's spiritual perfection on earth. And what's happening here is a precursor to Yah's spiritual perfection on earth with man. Additionally, think about the 6th day. You receive a double portion on the 6th day. And we've got a double portion of this reaping because you've got Yeshua with one sickle and a mighty angel with another sickle, a double portion on the 6th day, 6 angels, right? And what happens on the 6th day? It's the day of prep, after which, and Yah's prepping the world right here, after which we go into that Sabbath of rest, the day of rest, the 7th day. And another messenger came out of the dwelling place which is in the heaven, and he too held a sharp sickle. And another messenger came out from the slaughter place, having authority over the fire. And he cried, the slaughter place, right, where the burnt offerings happen at the temple. It was done away with. Okay. Whatever you say, bro. You take that up with your Messiah. And another messenger came out from the slaughter place, having authority over the fire, where the offerings are completely consumed. And he cried with a loud cry to him having a sharp sickle. This is the other angel saying, send your sharp sickle and gather the cluster of the vine of the earth, because her grapes are ripe. Yeah, but see, it could be because Yeshua says in John chapter 15, verse 5, that I am the vine and you are the branches, and this could be believers. Is this how Messiah is going to treat his believers, his followers? And the messenger thrust his sickle into the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and threw it into the great winepress of the wrath of Elohim. The wrath of Elohim. And the winepress was trodden outside the city, and blood came out of the winepress up to the bridles of the horses. That's like 5 foot high, for about 1,600 stadia, or approximately 296 kilometers, or 184 miles. That doesn't sound like something a loving Creator does to his followers. This is the reaping of the earth by Yeshua, separating the wheat from the chaff. He says specifically, I will separate the wheat from the chaff. I will separate my goats from my sheep. Think about this cacophony in Revelation 14. It mirrors the busyness of day of prep, the day before the Sabbath. You're coming right up to the edge, sliding in sideways to sundown, trying to get stuff done so that you can rest. And we see they're increasing the op tempo up there in heaven. We got Yeshua working. We got all these angels working. We've got people singing. We've got the slaughter place and the burnt offerings. We've got Yah speaking. It's all happening at the same time, and the earth is being harvested, treading out the winepress of wrath of Yahweh or Elohim, the Lord our God, in preparation for that day of rest when we dwell together forever in eternity with the Most High. That's Revelation 14. Bless y'all. Shalom.